Hi everybody, Matt here with Big Red Liquors, and we're actually here today with David Yancey, head brewer here at Taxman in Bargersville, and we're brewing a very special beer today. This is actually maybe the biggest, this is literally the biggest beer that Taxman has ever put in here. Dave's going to go into some detail, but essentially we've got 3,000 pounds of malt and about 1,000 gallons of water that are circulating right now, getting ready to make this beer. The beer is being made currently. So, David, this idea all started from the concept of an unsparged beer. So maybe in layman's terms, explain what sparging means and what an unsparged beer means.
So normally when we're mashing, we're converting starch in the grain into sugars, and that's what we call extract. So we extract that sugar from the grain, and normally we would sparge. That's adding hot water onto the top of the grain bed and then washing those extra sugars out of the grain, and then we achieve a certain volume in the boil kettle, and we make beer from that. What we're doing today is no sparge at all.
Right.
So fortunately, our system, we have a 20-barrel brew house, but we have a 30-barrel mash tun, so we have a little extra space to work with, and we filled it almost completely up. There's just a few inches left in that vessel. 3,000 pounds of malt, 1,000 gallons of water, and we're going to effectively just extract what's in that out and boil it. And then we're just going to get rid of the grain. So no sparge whatsoever, and this should hopefully give us a more smooth, malty flavor. What happens in sparging is you kind of extract some tannins from the grain and the husk during sparge, and we're just not going to do any of that. And it will end up with a nice, smooth, malty, sweet mouthfeel.
Yeah, so like the equivalent in wine would be like free-run juice, where only the weight of the grapes themselves are pressing the juice out. So it's not getting any of the tannins or any of the flavors. It's a very inefficient way to brew beer.
Yeah.
It would be very unprofitable to brew beer this way. But what we're trying to do is get the purest form of the malt flavor that we can get without any of the tannins. So one of the other reasons is because there's going to be so much concentration of sugar. What's the alcohol?
So this will be 12% ABV.
Yeah. So we got 12% ABV, and then it's actually going to ferment at this like crazy high temperature with this specialty yeast that you've sourced just to do this beer.
Yep.
So maybe talk about the hop profile of the beer, because the hops aren't heavy, but what do we have?
Okay, so we're using Michigan Chinook, and we're using a little bit of opal. And so I wanted to try to use as much local ingredients as I can in a lot of beers we do here. But in this one, I had a chance to grab some really nice Michigan Chinook, and it has a nice kind of a fruity pineapple-y flavor, less pine than you get with the Pacific version of Chinook. Still, there's a lot of similarities. And then opal is a nice German hop with also a little bit of sweet fruitiness, but some spiciness in there as well.
Yeah, so I don't think I can stress this enough. This is the biggest beer that I think Taxman has ever done. Free-run barley juice, no sparge at all. The most pure, concentrated malt beer flavor that you could possibly have. And then this, a super aggressive fermentation, but really clean.
Yeah, the yeast is a Norwegian Kvik strain of yeast. It likes to ferment hot, and it really has a lot of nice fruity character flavors that it produces, even at those high temperatures. So we're pretty excited to use this in this big of a beer. I've never made it to use it in this large of a batch, this high of a gravity beer.
Super excited. All right, so I'm going to pick up the camera here and take you over and show you this beer that's fermenting away right now. Oh my God.
That is completely full.
I wish you could smell this. It smells ridiculous. Yeah, that's about as full as they've ever had their fermenter here. Not their fermenter, but their mash tun. So then once this circulation is done, they're going to pump it. They will They'll pump it right over here
into our boil kettle.
into the boil kettle. It'll do the boil, and from the boil kettle, it'll go over to
Into our cellar for fermentation.
Yep. Then it'll go to the fermenter. Then it'll go to the bright tank for a few days, and then we're going to keg it off, and we're going to can it, and we should have this thing done in
Just about a month total. Yep.
about a month. So look back here to your Big Red email, but we're the only ones doing this particular beer at this time, so it should be pretty awesome. Well, Dave, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to drinking responsibly like one of these beers. One at a time.
Yes,
All
absolutely.
right. Cheers.
Cheers.